What's going on, people? You know, over time, we get to learn certain things as people. And we are being faced by something called a phase of transformation, where everything is changing. People are changing. A generation is changing. And then the shift is very big, massive, you know. And one of the things that really brings big challenge to this transformation is the rate at which the divide between the current and the former is growing up. And a lot of this growth is being brought up by two generations that are living in two different times, but then associated by paternity, so that we stem from them, but they don't understand the perspective of living right now. So that you realize the society today needs the skills the former society had. However, the current society don't see the importance or the value. Therefore, they tend to push away the older generation so that they might seem superior in that type of thought. However, they don't understand that, you know, you have to put this thought into practical action so that you can, if you need a device, you have to create the device. You see, you have to create the device so that you have the idea, you have smart thinking, and technology is revolutionizing so that you can code without knowing how to code. But then you must have relevant technology to bring this new ideation into life. Now, this is where the challenge comes, where the old generation thinks that the type of thinking of the newer generation is flawed, that it's a problem and they need to shift back. Now, the lack of harmony between these two generations is really going to cause a very big catastrophe, because we are going into a generation whereby we need to build, but then we don't have the culture of building, because there's been a lot of disposition in things that take time. Because we are in a generation whereby things happen fast. Things that used to take time happen fast, and that gives us an illusion of eliminating the practicality of time in creation of systems, processes, and functionalities that can effectively bring to life this revolutionary idealism. And the world is getting in fast. The age of artificial intelligence is coming, and it's going to get people in an off position, because in the next few generations it will be a bigger divide. Even when you look at the inequality in wealth, it's going to be humongous, because the old wealth is crashing because it can't sustain, and then there is new wealth that is rising, and this new wealth that is rising is crafted. It's full of crafty people. And remember, today you don't have to be violent to be crafty. You just need to adapt things faster and smarter. So there is things that our parents would work for generations to get, we can get by strategic speculation. That is what we call it these days, strategic speculation. So that you're just getting in at the right time and get out at the right time. So, and the problem is most people don't have the capital to strategically speculate, and that is where the new generation is falling short, because remember, it takes time to build capacity to speculate. Now, a generation that did put time in wrong systems, and a generation that has right system and not putting systems into it, that is the divide. Question is, how are we going to handle this change? How are we going to handle these systems? Because at the end of the day, as young people, we have to create. If you're not creating, you're not going to get it. It doesn't matter how beautiful the ideas of the young are. unless we are putting that idea into work. And this is the generation where by beating people is easy. You just need to show up more than they do. You just need to put in the work more than they do. Just a little bit more. See, we are living in a generation that is very superficial in their type of approach to systems, so that it's not about the brilliance and the magnitude of the ideas. It's about the lack of the ability to put in the time until it's there. That requires more. That requires more than motivation. It's because if you're climbing up the mountain, the victory is when you get to the top of the mountain. But then in the middle here, the victories are not that big. And the pains are extreme, and sometimes the probability that we'll get up there is almost impossible. But then that's the reality of life. Now, the lack of the ability of the young people today to amalgamate and synthesize themselves into the reality of life while bringing in their new ideas is going to make them fall short on the big transformation that is coming, because a new generation is coming to life. A new world is coming to fruition. A new way of doing things, a new way of creation. It's about your ability to control yourself as a system more than as an individual. But then how will you control yourself as a system if you don't have proper idea of who you are as an individual, so that from your individual perspective you get the ability to create the system and then become it? The biggest question is, are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready for the inequality that is coming? Are we ready for the divide? Are we ready for extremely... Because the old man is dying, that there is no debate about that. But not all money is dying. We have people who have the capability to tap into the draining well of the old money so that they can get big pies. And when you put that with these revolutionary setback, these revolutionary ideas that people have, that capital head start is still big advantage. So not all old money is dying, but then there is new money that is coming, and that new money is faster, it's more ruthless, but then it's a lot more silent than the old money. See, people thought that the old money was silent, but then this is a generation whereby you can move systems while being 100% invisible in that system, so that because you don't have to be there in person, we can create systems that are technologically driven, so that the boss can be a worker without the worker knowing that they're working with the boss. It's very complex, but it's more happening today, where CEOs are part of the working community without the working community knowing that the person here is the big boss. See, it's no longer age of clean cut suits and everything. It's the CEO is in t-shirts and sneakers, and we've seen this in all that the old system, but then it's coming into the new system with a very different approach, because these are very young people. You will never know that this person owns this, but then there is another group of young people that are living in a spiritual fantasy, where they think, because they know, where they think they have all the time. Yes, they have the time, but how much time? How much time until we're going to come to the realization that unless we're going to collectively adapt to create, it's only few people who are adapting to the creation now who will have all of it then, so that when that time comes, you'll only know, but then your knowledge will be useless. You think about it as an individual. How fast are you adapting to the creation process? Are you part of the game, or are you just watching the game? Because unless you're playing the game, forget about what the people who are playing the game are gonna get. Remember, unless you show up, you ain't getting it. It doesn't matter how smart you are. If you're not showing up and playing the game, forget about it.